This channel is proudly sponsored by the Red Room. Please check out the link to their store in the description and in the pinned comment below for exclusive tabletop RPG products you will find nowhere else. Thank you. Hi, welcome to this part of my review featuring the Walking Dead universe role-playing starter set. If you haven't seen part 1 where I take a look at the components, please check out the playlist in the description below. This time I am going to talk about the contents. Let's start with my two major criticisms. Even though you have information on the non-player characters in the scenario, their expert skills, their trained skills, their issues, their gear, their appearance, everything. What this booklet does not include is the information on the amount of dice that they will roll during tests. This is a major oversight. I kept looking throughout the books, the scenario book and the rules booklet, to see if there is some sort of information about this, and I couldn't find it. The closest thing was information related to the stealth abilities of a particular non-player character, but it's so puzzling why they didn't include this basic information. Or if they included it, it is so well hidden that I simply couldn't find it. And it's very simple. This tabletop RPG is very easy to run when it comes to applying the stats of non-player characters. If they use a skill in which they are not trained at, or trained in rather, you only roll 4 dice. If they are trained in that skill, they roll 5 dice. If they are experts in that skill, they roll 8. That's it. And you have no information whatsoever about that in the core rules. This is a major oversight. Or like I said, if perhaps for whatever reason I couldn't find the pertinent information, it is too hidden. Imagine someone that wants to get into tabletop role-playing games and purchases this role-playing starter set. That person will have no clue unless you ask around as to the number of dice that the enemies roll, or the non-player character allies, etc. The other major criticism: the roleplay information is terrible, like in all other Free League role-playing games. The author... it could be either one of two cases. The author has no clue on how to actually roleplay in a tabletop role-playing game, or the author disingenuously writes down incorrect information because the author fears that perhaps if you ask players to roleplay in a tabletop role-playing game, they will feel put off, they won't purchase this system or they won't get into it. So, suffice to say, the information is terrible when it comes to actually understanding how to roleplay in a tabletop role-playing game. Just take a look at this example. First, it starts really good. It says, Hannah, I raise the revolver and aim between his eyes. Game Master, the thief seems to think this is hilarious. I think a better way would be to say the thief smirks or the thief laughs or something, because you're trying to manipulate the thought process of the player character. But moving on. Sweetie, if you pull that trigger, the dead will pack these streets in minutes. Are you ready to get caught up here without any food or shelter? I don't think so. Hannah, you thought wrong. I cock the hammer. So far, it's pretty decent. But then, Miguel. Whoa! Is there anything I can do to stop her before she shoots? Game Master. You can always try. What do you do? And I am not joking, there is actually an entire section encouraging the Game Master to constantly ask, what do you do? Having an out-of-character conversation where the Game Master roleplays as a floating head that asks the players, what do you do with every single scene and action? The role-playing instructions in this booklet are perhaps just as bad as the Fabula Ultima roleplay instructions. They are that bad. They are horrible, abysmal, terrible. So those are the two major obstacles. No information on the dice for the non-player characters, and the most Probably. They could be the most awful roleplay instructions that I have read in a while. Perhaps ever. But putting those aside, let's continue. I will give you more details when I review the core book, but when it comes to these introductory rules, you have, like I said, the terrible explanation on roleplay, and then you have an explanation on the game modes. There is survival mode. This is perfect for one-shots. It's a simple scenario that could be finished in 1 or 2 sessions, but you also have campaign mode, which is a set of scenarios that are connected by some sort of overarching plot. Then you have information on the principles of the game. 1. Do whatever it takes to survive. 2. Death is inescapable. 3. You are never safe. 4. You are not alone. 5. You are telling a story. No, you are not telling a story, you are playing a role and you are playing a game. You are describing your actions and reactions within the fiction. You are not saying, Bob walked towards the zombie and attacked the zombie with the axe, the zombie died, Bob celebrated, then Bob stepped away and moved into a cabin and drank a beer. No. I approach the zombie and swing my axe at its head. And then you make your roll and something happens. Again, the terrible roleplay explanations throughout the book. Horrible. 6. Fiction comes first. I completely agree. Fiction comes first. That's why you shouldn't have an out-of-character conversation with a floating head. Then you have another terrible point. Safety tools. It's not about safety. Tabletop RPGs are safe. Imaginary zombies are not going to kill you. They should be comfort tools. If you think that imaginary zombies are going to kill you, you need to put down this book and get some professional help. I used to love those disclaimers in the Old World of Darkness RPG books. They told you if you think that the imaginary vampires or the imaginary werewolves are going to kill you, get some professional help and then play the game. Then you have details on the setting. Everybody knows about The Walking Dead. You have this zombie apocalypse sort of situation. You have zombies or walkers trying to devour people. You also have information on how the living are trying to survive. They build safe havens. They try to group up with other survivors. Other humans, other survivors are also the antagonists. There are criminals, psychopaths, etc. So you can actually tell a story after you finish the session. You can tell a story about the session. Then you have details on the player characters. Each player character has an issue, but also a drive. Once every session you may use your drive to get a +2 modifier on a skill roll. You also have characteristics such as strength, agility, wits, empathy, and of course the game master is going to play with the issue, use the issue not only for character development, but also to present challenges for the players. Perhaps they will accumulate a lot of stress. Their player characters are going to suffer the effects of their issues. You also have skills and talents, and we will talk about those in a few moments. When it comes to the dice pool, it's quite simple. It's attribute plus skill. So you have strength 2 and a skill of 2. You would roll 4 dice. That's it. You roll 6-sided dice and you try to roll 6s because each 6 represents a success. But of course, you're going to be taking stress. As you fail those rolls, bad things will happen. That's why you need your anchors. This could be player characters or non-player characters that help you cope or deal with your fear. They allow you to deal with your traumas so that you don't lose your drive and you end up shattered. If you end up shattered, you start talking to dead people, you think that the walkers are alive, you want to die, all sorts of horrible stuff. So you need to anchor yourself to those loved ones and friends. You have skills such as endure, force, mobility, ranged combat, stealth, and there are talents that represent tricks, traits, and abilities that can benefit you in various situations. This starter set does not contain rules on how to create your own player characters. It contains pre-generated player characters, but that's it. Now, when it comes to pushing your roll, when you fail a test, you can choose to give it one more try. When you push a roll, you reroll all dice that are not successes, but you also take one stress point and add a stress die to the reroll. Stress dice should be represented with a different color. If you mess up when rolling stress dice, something really bad is going to happen. Usually, the walkers will attack you. The horde will grow bigger, the threat will increase, and we will talk about that in a future part of this review. Stress dice basically represent the flight or fight response. You raise your odds of succeeding because you roll more dice, but if you mess up, things are going to end up a lot worse. This dice pool mechanic applies to everything: opposed rolls, helping each other, parallel actions, extra successes, that is, if you roll more successes than needed, then you obtain some bonuses, some perks. You can also obtain bonuses from gear when it comes to getting a bigger dice pool. There are a few exceptional rolls such as double high or double low, which basically means that you roll 2 dice and you take the high or low result. You also have the D66 or D666 when it comes to rolling a number of 6-sided dice in order for the game master to figure out some things, determine results in various tables, etc. And this concludes this part of the review. In the next part we are going to talk about combat, the scenario, and I'm going to give you my final thoughts on this role-playing starter set. So I like the basic explanations of the mechanics, but the roleplay explanation and the absence of the dice information for the non-player characters, they are definitely two major flaws. Thank you for watching this part of the review. Don't forget to leave a like, a comment, and subscribe. And thank you so much to those of you that are going the extra mile to support the channel. If anyone else wishes to further support the channel, the information on how to do that will be in the description below. This has been Abraham El Jaguar, a professional game master. If you want me to run a game for you, please check out the pinned comment below. And remember, it is better to roleplay and fail in character than not to roleplay and fail as a player. Once again, thank you, and see you later.